Guys, welcome back to the channel. A lot of comments in the comments section about where did the twin EATON 90s go, where did the Sunbird go, and well, I made quite a bit of progress on it, so here it is. Let's take a look over it and answer a few questions that I've been seeing in the comment section coming in here. So to be honest with you guys, I've had so much going on this summer, I don't even really remember where we left off on this build. Of course, I could have looked it up, but I didn't do that either. I think the last time we pretty much were putting the hood on the thing. After that, I bled the brakes on it and got it out of the shop because I needed room down there to get some stuff done. And a lot of questions were left unanswered. So let's take a look at a few things here and answer those questions. Alright, so one of the most common questions I keep seeing on the feed is, what did you ever do with that tensioner? Did you move that tensioner? I still have people saying that tensioner is not going to work. Well, I did what I said in the last video. I left it exactly where it was. Left it over here on the side. I did clock it a little more to get a little more pressure on it, and by doing so, I got it a little more straight coming in, which is going to increase the spring pressure a lot. It's kind of a lot harder now to swing that thing down. And to be honest, it really doesn't even move. Revving it up, under load, it just barely goes, just a little bit. And I did have the belt jump off over here once or twice, and I did exactly what I said I was going to do there. I plasma cut a couple rings on the plasma table, TIG welded them on here. No problems whatsoever. One guy did say, hey, try that out, but you might be shredding belts. Keep a lot of spare belts in your pile or in the car. It really doesn't seem to be shredding belts. There is a little damage here, but that's actually from when it jumped off this pulley before these washers were on here. Kind of jumped off and kind of rode on the radiator a little bit and just scuffed the edge up. But if you look inside here on my washer, there really, oops, that's off. There really isn't anywhere or even a mark on the front of that to indicate that that belt is riding on the edge of that washer. So obviously it's touching off on it a little bit, but it solved the problem. And to be honest, I really don't know what the problem is with doing it this way. We haven't got a lot of drive time on it yet, but that's what today's all about. We're going to go for the first ride. Another big issue that people were talking about on there, not really an issue to me, but the bearings in the back of here. I have seen a couple of you guys say that when you did these in the past, you put one on something that when you do a draw-through, carbureted application, that you're washing out the needle bearings in the back of those rotors in there. I really didn't think that would be the biggest of issues, just based on the fact that, I mean, when that fuel is being sucked in, I just couldn't really understand or can't understand why that fuel would come down 90 into a, not a sealed bearing, it actually is kind of open, it's got just that rubber lip seal. I really couldn't see why that would have been going down into that, swirling around and back out, washing the grease out. It kind of really didn't make sense to me, but I can see what you guys are saying. You're drawing fuel through, so yeah, you're gonna, fuel's a solvent, you're gonna wash all the grease out. I'm not worried about it right now, and after we drive this thing around a little bit, I'm gonna pull all this stuff back off anyway, and I'll just pop out the snouts and look in there and see if that grease is in there or not. If it's not in there, then at that point in time, I will probably get the upgraded bearings, or maybe even have someone mill them out to some kind of aftermarket bearing that's even better than those. But honestly, I really didn't see that as being a big issue, but a lot of you guys bring it up. So we're going to see on that. We'll run this thing a little bit. I'll pull them apart. Not a big deal. And we'll check that out. I don't have the answer to that one either. What else did we get done here? Timing is set at, actually the last time I started this in the shop, the first startup on this thing, timing was set at -4 degrees retarded. And honestly, it ran pretty good that way. I'm about +4 right now, 4 degrees advanced, pulls a total of 27 degrees, and I'm hoping that's all right. Another reason to go for a ride. We'll see if it starts detonating or not. One issue I did have, I did take this thing around the block by the shop in town 2 times. First time it felt great, second time it started smoking like crazy up through a big hole in the floorboard over here because the dipstick tube started pushing fluid out, which lands right on top of the header down here. Which transmission and hot exhaust, I really don't care for that combination, so I'm guessing the vent might be plugged on the transmission. It's a Turbo 400 in here. It's got that little plastic hose off the top. probably something in there, but I really can't get to it. I did jack it up here, and I can't really get to it. I ran a wire up it, but we're going to have to get it back to the shop on the hoist to see what's going on with that. But I haven't had it happen since then either, so not really sure on that. Other than that, moving on to the inside, I guess, oh yeah, I took the whole dash out of it. Got myself a new set of gauges, got the Sunbird logo back on there, got a Speedway wiring harness kit installed in it. No headlights wired right now, but the taillights and everything are working on it. Got these gauges, they're a pretty cheap set on eBay. They're nice, they're domed glass, 180 bucks. Half sweep gauges. Fuel gauge needs to be hooked up yet after I make a new fuel cell. Came with a tack. And we got our one oddball boost gauge over here yet. Threw these blue seats in here real quick just to have something to sit on. I am planning on caging this car 100%, all the way from the front through the firewall up into the back, because honestly it is pretty crusty. Probably could have picked a better candidate to start with, but I don't think there's many of these that weren't rotted out yet anyway. Get down here and gonna end up patching a lot of that stuff in the future. One other thing moving on to the back over here is I still have this gas tank cut into the floor here, and I did save the old trunk floor pan when I cut it out so I can weld it back in. That's going to be one of the next projects here too. Probably do that before I even cage the car. Get this gas tank out, weld that thing back in, and build an aluminum tank for under the thing. I really don't like the idea of it having it be in the trunk and exposed with no divider between basically me and the fuel tank. In case something happens, get rear-ended, whatever it may be. So we're going to get rid of that and fix that up too in the future. Alright, well, for now then, basically, I'm going to get in this thing and fire it up. I'm going to leave the hood off, and I have a fire extinguisher in there just in case the transmission pukes all over the headers or anything else may happen. Plus, I guess I'd like to just see what's going on in case something does happen here. So I'm going to fire this thing up and let's go for a ride around the country block. Probably about a mile and a half. Here's one other thing to point out too before I fire it up. Probably ought to watch my speed a little bit. Got a little dry rot on the front tires here, and believe it or not, it's pretty hard to find a 13-inch tire these days. 13s, 14s, or 15s is getting pretty hard to come by, so try to take it easy. Alright, here we go. Pretty good, guys. Idles like a pig though. You put this thing in gear and it actually has quite a bit of surge on it. I'm sure that's probably because of the cam I put in it, but once you get going it seems to smooth out pretty good. Yeah, it's got power. Get out real quick and just make sure that dipstick tube isn't pumping tranny fluid out everywhere. Looks pretty dry. That's a bonus. guys, it seems like it's running pretty good right now. I'm gonna see if I can hold this and see what we can make for boost here on the gauge. Haven't had any tranny fluid puke out of my dipstick yet, so that's a bonus. Definitely has some pull. I saw that boost gauge bump a good 5 to 6 a minute ago. I'm gonna wait for this car to go over here. Well, let's see what happens here. Okay, alright. Well, that was all of like 7 or 8, and it sounded like it detonated pretty hard there too, so I think we got some tuning to do. So I hammered on it a little bit there, but that was probably the most I ever gave it, and we'll have to go back and look at the footage, but that was all of 7, I'm guessing. So definitely makes a little more boost under load. Seems to run really good. I really should check my timing though, because it did sound like it rattled pretty hard when the boost came on. We might have to go for one more ride here real quick. That dipstick was making me nervous, but we haven't chucked any fluid now at all, so maybe we'll go one more lap. Alright guys, so I turned the timing down just a couple of degrees. I was at about 7, I'd say 8 degrees on it. Probably backed it down to about 4 to 5 right now. I'm gonna go out one more time, get on it one more time here and see if I can hear it ping again or not. It's pulling a total of 28 degrees here with the mechanical advance, no vacuum advance. I thought that would have been alright, but I might need a little race fuel, I don't know. Surgy surge. Now let's go this way. Definitely rattled when I hit it. That was about 6. guys, I would have to say today's a pretty good success. Car still drives pretty nice. I really got to get some new rubber on the front of it, and some back tires actually too. Transmission doesn't seem to be leaking anymore, so that's a bonus. Temperature runs good. I know I saw over 6 pounds before, but I really don't want to whack on it too hard anymore because it really rattles when I get on it. So we have to come up with a solution for that, either race fuel or I probably should just buy that MSD boost retard right away too. Get that dialed in. But I'd say she's a ripper, guys. Yeah, that's a rattle. We are gonna need some good fuel. Working on this thing, and I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do with the timing and the fuel and all that, but until then, this is where we're at with the car for right now. So thanks for watching. Until next time. I wonder if I could do a burnout.